welcome back to that one random podcast shorts. Look, we're gonna do this another follow up on the pyramid. Sorry, I don't really know who this guy is. Treble does. He's gonna give you a bit of background of who this individual is and what they're gonna talk about. He's on the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm a little bit sketchy about doing reaction to Joe Rogan podcast shorts or even clips or whatever, because our very first podcast episode, we used a Joe Rogan clip, and we got banned. The episode got banned. We can't. You can only see it on Rumble. So if you want to see episode 1, it was we were very controversial with the things we were talking about. A lot of deep stuff. So if you want to check that out, go over to Rumble, onto our Rumble channel. It's up there. It's still running, so you can watch it there. But I'm going to pass over to Treble now and let Treble talk about who this guy is.
Yeah, just a bit of background, because obviously on the previous conversations we mentioned some great pioneers of modern thinking, challenging that mainstream history of what's going on in the ancient world, like Egypt and stuff. Robert Schoch here is actually a geologist by trade, so he studies weather and weather erosion and patterns, and he went to go look at ancient Egypt and what was going on there, and he came to the conclusion that the weather erosion found on the stones isn't in line with what the mainstream history was saying. So if the mainstream history is saying, this pyramid was built, or the Sphinx was built 6,000 years ago, and he's come and looked at it and said, hold on, but that weather erosion couldn't have happened because there wasn't that amount of rainfall since 10,000 years ago. So for that rainfall to occur on that weather erosion, then we've got to be looking at a much older date. And obviously that was rejected heavily within mainstream history and mainstream archaeology and mainstream science. But he's obviously distinguished in his own field of science and as a geologist, and he's done lots of research into it, and obviously he's credited enough to be on the Joe Rogan podcast to be talking about it. So he's just going to quickly explain it in a short.
The audience has not been to Egypt, they should realize that when they carved the Sphinx, it's all solid bedrock. Only the head initially was above the ground surface. They carved down into the rock to free up the body, what I call the core body of the Sphinx. And the walls of the enclosure, more or less the quarry around it, if you want to use that term, that show these ancient weathering, precipitation, erosional features that are incompatible with the last 5,000 years of climatic history on the eastern edge of the Sahara. If the audience has not...
So that's just a real short. If you want to go more into detail to it, he can break it down a little bit longer. But we just kind of keep it quick, just to whet your appetite a little bit. But what he said there was the rainfall on the weather erosion on the Sphinx dates a lot further back than 5,000 years ago, like the mainstream history says it was built.
So it could be 10,000.
He's saying 10,000.
Wow.
Which now goes back to in line with possibly a cataclysmic flood.
He's obviously an expert in this, which is like weather erosion
and geology
and all that sort of stuff.
He's an expert in that field, and so he's not looking at it from. He doesn't care about
history,
ancient aliens. He doesn't care about giants or anything religious or anything to do with civilization per se.
He's just analysing what's in front of him.
His expertise is weather erosion, and he's saying, hold on, but this is solid bedrock, and this weather erosion can only happen if there was heavy water, heavy rainfall, but the period of the West Sahara doesn't have heavy rainfall 5,000 years ago. That happened 10,000 years ago. So based on that information, talk about giants, aliens, or whatever you want to add to it. Forget all of that. The fact is that weather erosion could only have happened 10,000 years ago. So for him, it's safe to say that this must be older.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not really accepted in the mainstream science. But, he goes on for 2, 3 hours, 4 hours talking to Joe Rogan about it, really breaking it down for anybody who has ears to see and eyes to listen.
Look. At the end of the day, we said it in the last short that we did, which is, keep an open mind, and this is, we did obviously a short on education and how in school we're programmed and brainwashed to believe whatever they teach us to believe, and there's a reason behind that. And go and watch that short if you want to understand and hear what we were talking about. And the same, and I would say keep an open mind, because if you've got a closed mind, you're never going to understand this. You're never going to open your mind to this stuff and really kick back and really pay attention to what people, these individuals, these experts like this man here are trying to explain to us. Yeah, remember, he's got no horse in the race here, in a sense.
Yeah.
Right? He's been asked to come along and analyse something. He's not coming in there, I'm a flat earther, or I'm a thisser, or I'm a that, I'm a conspiracy theorist. He don't care about none of that stuff. Like Treble said, he don't care about none of the stuff. He's just come in and said, right, you want me to analyse this? Right, let's analyse it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 10,000 years old. This happened 10,000 years ago. So who said it was 5,000? And why did you say that? Okay, well, you're incorrect. Because look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. This is about 10,000 years ago it happened. There was no water or rainfalls here.
In the West Sahara.
In the West Sahara. But then, obviously, naturally, those individuals want to turn around. And there's a little bit of ego in there as well. Because, obviously, other archaeologists who have probably dated it and stuff like that will say, well, no, I can't say that. Because then people are going to think I'm an idiot and a fool.
Wow, that's actually where it really comes down to. The Egyptologist is almost like a cult sector in Egypt. You know, there's... I can't forget. I forget his name, but there's a really famous Egyptologist, and he's very pompous about what he says. But he's also profited heavily from his take on Egypt history. You know, the Egyptian museums there is also a business run, and it's very cult of the archaeologists now.
When you change the narrative, people lose money.
But
also when you change the narrative, people stop listening to you. To those individuals who have been telling you these certain things, they're trying to educate you with their theories.
If you were wrong,
because
for
now
so long,
if you get discredited by someone and say, "Well, I'm going to listen to you. You got that wrong."
Yeah,
I'm going to listen to this guy over here because he got it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're not paying attention to it, so it is an ego trip as well. We got that as well.
100%.
But keep an open mind. Yeah. Anyway, look, leave a comment. Let us know what you think of this. And as always, like, share, subscribe. Until next time, we out.
Peace.